Ivan, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. Thank you all for coming. I'm Ivan Vilibor Sinčić, member of the ENVI Committee, Environment, Public Health and Food Safety. And all of these documents about managing COVID crisis went through our committee. I can freely say that. And I must say that it is really sad to see our freedoms, rights and rule of law endangered in Europe today. Unfortunately, in some countries, you cannot keep your job without a digital green certificate. You cannot enter a public building without DGC. You cannot enter a shop without a DGC. We are facing now, on the contrary, more and more evidence in practice and more scientific research and evidence that people carrying DGC can indeed infect other people. DGC is a license to spread and infect. Unfortunately, DGC gives a false sense of security. DGC is completely illogical, it's non-scientific, and it must be abandoned. I fully support the staff of the European Parliament in their positions, the positions of non-discrimination, non-segregation, the freedom to come to the workplace. This is their workplace, along with us, the MEPs. The implementation of proportional and adequate sanitary measures, the vaccine not being compulsory. 100% teleworking offered for vulnerable staff, free and informed consent, as my colleague said, which are prescribed with various international documents from Oviedo Convention, Nuremberg Code, resolutions of Council of Europe. We have Council of Europe right there, a few meters from this Parliament building. Free and informed consent, a right which belongs to individual freedoms to decide whether or not to say yes or no to a medical act of any kind, medical treatment of any kind. A message to the staff is simple. You are not alone, and fight for your rights, and we are fighting along with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ivan. I want to quote something precisely from the regulation that was voted a few months ago that imposed all across Europe this green certificate. The paragraph 46 of that regulation states the following, and I quote, "This regulation respects the fundamental rights and observes the principles recognized in particular by the Charter of Fundamental Rights, including the right to respect for private life and family life, the right to the protection of personal data, the right to equality before the law and non-discrimination, the right to free movement, and the right to an effective remedy. Member States should comply with the Charter when implementing this regulation." This is what was stated in this regulation, and this is what was voted, and what was agreed out of the trialogue. Well, if we look now, a few months after this green certificate was imposed in the European Union, we see exactly the opposite. All these rights that allegedly were supposed to be protected by this regulation are actually violated right now. People cannot work anymore, and they live under the threat of losing their jobs and their livelihoods if they are not having this certificate. I have a colleague here from Italy. We have about 1 million and a few 100,000 Romanians in Italy, many more Polish, many more Bulgarians and other people from Eastern Europe. They are all citizens of this European Union with equal rights. I have to tell you that in the past few weeks, I'm bombarded with petitions from people in Italy, from people in France, from people in Spain, concerned that they will be losing their jobs if they don't have this green certificate. The problem is many of these people already had COVID-19. They have proof that they have the antibodies, the natural antibodies, and nobody cares. They are forced to do or to be exposed, for example, or to take a medical product that, for various reasons, they don't want to take it. If they don't do it, they will lose their jobs. So our concern is this the type of European Union that we want to build, that we want to accept? Is this the European Union, as it is stated in the Treaty of the European Union, that this union is a space of freedom? Do we still have that freedom anymore or not? So we were some of the people, I would say, that raised these concerns during the debates in the plenary when this green certificate was debated. At that point, our voice was in a minority, and it's proven by the votes. The problem now is more and more people in Europe are affected by the decision made even by this House. You've seen the protests in Italy and in many other countries. Unbelievably, I'm coming from a former communist country. We haven't had a protest for liberty since the fall of communism. Out of the blue, we see people now in Romania, and we've seen, interestingly enough, in Spain, in Italy, and in many other countries, fighting for freedom, for liberty. They're not fighting for higher pensions, for higher salaries, or for any of these other rights. They simply fight for the basic human right of being free, to decide implicitly what they want to do with their body. So this issue was raised by us, is proven by the records of the Parliament. Now it's affecting a lot of people, a lot of our citizens. Now the problem is that it's affecting all of us here, and it's threatening the parliamentarian democracy even of this House. Because if we will not be allowed to enter this House, unless we have a green certificate, we will not be able to do our job here. But along with us, it's our assistants and our staff members. I have to tell you that us and many others of us were contacted anonymously, or off the record, I would say, by many of the staff members who are deeply concerned. People that work for this House for decades. They have a family, they have mortgages, credit in banks. And now they live with this threat that sooner than later, if they don't have this green certificate, they will be losing their job. But they haven't done anything wrong. This is the absurd situation. Many of them already went through this insane illness that killed so many people. They have proof that they developed a natural immunity. And for some reason, unknown reason, illogical reason, non-medically proven reason, they will be faced with losing their jobs unless they have a green certificate. It is not fair to them. It is not fair to the citizens of this union. And it's not fair to all of us. We were elected here to represent our citizens. We have our assistants, who are helping us to serve our citizens. But nevertheless, there are thousands of people working for the Parliament, for the Commission, for the Council. Without them, we will not be able to do our jobs. They are the unknown people that are actually carrying everything that we do here and everything that we have here. And just this stress to come to work every day, to be threatened, to be afraid that you might lose your job because you don't have a certificate that is not certifying anything. Because clearly if you're vaccinated, you can get COVID and you can spread the virus. I mean, it's proven already. And if you have a negative test, that is just proving that at the moment when you got the test, you were negative. But it doesn't mean when you leave the office or the testing place, you might not get infected and infect other people. Interestingly enough, in the Parliament, and this is the absurd situation, we all agree that if you have proven of natural immunity, you should be allowed to travel free. They removed that from the regulation. So now, healthy people cannot exercise their basic fundamental right. So an idea or a regulation that started with the idea in mind to facilitate freedom of movement, now it's a tool, I would say, used to condition your right to work, your right to eat, your right to travel, your right to personal life, and many other things. So the reason why we had this press conference is to express through our voices the concerns of us, the concerns of our staff members, and nevertheless the concerns of hundreds and maybe thousands of people that are working in the Parliament, in the Council, and many other European institutions. We are here for you, and we will fight for you.